Hello, Lauren Oak.
Hello, Natalie Diaz.
Welcome back to the podcast. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
It's literally been a minute.
A minute.
That's how long it's been
Maybe
since
less.
since we last did our last episode. Guys, it is me, Nat from Twiniversity. Again, I apologize for my voice. If you've heard it, it sounds interesting. Is all. I'm just going to use the word. But what if this is stuck like this forever, Lauren?
That's your new normal. You're going to have to accept it.
I don't accept it. I don't. I thought about that yesterday.
You could be a lounge singer. You could.
I don't even know if I could sing. Sound like Joe Cocker. I'm like, whoa, would you
go on tour? Come on, go on tour. I can't write some songs.
No, concerts stay up way too late. Like they're just
do an after. Remember, Jamie Lee Curtis a while ago was like, do a 2:00 in the afternoon, or
I would love a 2:00 concert.
Oh, that would be the best.
What's wrong with us?
We're normal.
Are we? Yeah. I don't know. Guys, if you don't know Lauren, she's our resident doula in charge, lactation consultant, one of my inner circle besties, snack maven, mom to 11 kids by now? 16 grandkids, 11 daughters. She only has daughters.
And
so that's easy.
And a dog with short
a micro dog is what we should call him. I love him so much though. Oh, I don't know. M's my favorite. Yes, everybody knows. I think your whole family is aware of this. That goes as far as the kids go. But then Cooper's pretty much coming in there. Although I did message Molly this week after you sent me that picture. Yeah. I said, I love you more now. And she's like, send it to me. So I sent it to her. So so I love Lauren's kids. Sometimes more than my own. I love yours.
It's easier to love someone else's kids sometimes.
Yeah, it really is. It really, really is. And you know what I'm glad about? This is going to sound horrible. For those triplet families that are out there.
God bless them.
That's what we say in the twin world. That's probably what people like singletons say about us. And then we say that about triplet families.
Well, you know what? I get a lot of, I always wanted to have twins. But you never hear anyone who says, I always wanted to have triplets.
No, you don't.
Ever. But lots of people say, I always wanted to have twins. I want to have twins. And I always say it's because you don't have twins.
Exactly. I just say, for me, I don't want to burst their bubble. So I just say, oh my gosh, that's so great. Yes, twins are the best, in hopes that someday they have twins and then find Twiniversity and take a class. And then I get to retire. See, Lauren, so you're going about this the wrong way.
Well, I just try to be a little more realistic with people. I'm like, well, it's not all fun and games.
They don't know. They really don't know. I don't think they even care. So like I remember when like the twinnies were little and people would be like, oh my gosh, like, are they twins? Right. That's the first question. And then you're like, yes, they're twins. Oh my God, are they identical? No. If any of you have ever seen my kids, they look as different today as they did at birth.
Boy, girl.
Lauren, please.
I know.
We can't. And then I'm like, do I say something? Do I not? Like, what did you do?
It's like you have to bring out I have girls.
Yes. So then, but when they said that I
would say, no, they're not identical. And they'd say, what, they look exactly alike. And I'm like, oh, yes. I'm not arguing. I have to go. But with boy, girl, I think you should have had like an infographic chart that you just whip out of your pocket and be like, well, this is why they can't be
like one of those tubes, like a scroll.
Picture of girl parts and boy parts. This is why.
This is what they're missing. Yeah, it's been cuckoo. But yeah, having twins has been fascinating. But once upon a time, I met triplets and I basically stayed friends with them for a long time. I'm still like friends consistently with a triplet mom this whole time for all of these years. And I just saw her last week, actually. And we were talking about that her kids are already in college. And we talked about like, oh my God, I'm like, I think I have it bad with that. Like that's a different level of stress.
Yeah. I'm dreading that. You're going to be jumping into that circle soon. And then I'm right behind you.
Just literally just get everybody on the National Honor Society like Lauren does. Let them get big scholarships. That's the way you got to do it.
So
that's it. You got to go full tiger mom. Just literally trust us.
That's the only way to survive.
But today, that's what we're going to talk to Paige. And Paige is a triplet.
Oh, she is a triplet?
Yes. So she's going to talk about like her experience
as a triplet.
As a triplet.
Wow.
I love that. I love when we actually get to speak to multiples themselves. And then we could say, like, should we have dressed you alike? Should we have put you in the same classroom? So, and we have other episodes where I talk to multiples themselves, like adult multiples, to say, like, what did you remember? Like, do you remember this? So that is what today is about. Did you have many triplet or any triplet moms in your circle?
No, Phoebe, who lives up in Buffalo, but she wasn't really in my circle. But
she's also a twin mom too,
She's also a twin mom too. Yeah, she's another.
She's got a few.
Alien. Yeah.
That's the only triplet mom you know?
Yeah.
There weren't any at your local club?
Nope.
Wow.
None. All twins. Multiple. Some people had 2 sets of twins.
Yes.
But no triplets that I know multiples. Of. Yeah.
Yikes. Okay. Well, are you ready to hear what Paige has to say about living the life as a triplet?
Yes.
All right. Okay, guys, we're cutting it short. You got to meet Paige. You're going to love it. All right, here she is. I can't believe I'm meeting such a fancy celebrity. Paige, thank you for playing with us today.
I'm so happy to be here. This is so exciting to talk to some other fellow multiples. Well, people who understand multiple life.
Oh, we do. Yes, I would be drinking in a closet with your mom. Is where you would find us. Oh my gosh. So Paige, word on the street is that you're a triplet. So you have brothers, sisters. What do we got in the mix?
Yeah, the word on the street is true. And all girls, all sissies. Yeah.
That's the best.
It's pretty special.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I really am.
We have an older brother, but the triplet portion is 3 girls.
So you have an older brother and then your parents rolled the dice and then there you guys were.
So we can actually get into this further, but this is a brother who I didn't meet till I was 16. My mom got pregnant when she was 20 and decided to give him up for adoption at that time. And then we reunited with him when he was 30 and we were 16. I believe it's the correct ages. And now he's a part of our life. And you know, this is another whole podcast, but some of those journeys with like meeting people who are adopted, you know, I just feel really lucky that we've had such a beautiful coming together. And, so that was the first chapter of my mom's life.
Exciting, though.
And so it is, it's the most beautiful thing. We have a very interesting family dynamic, but it's perfect. I love it.
You never know. I remember back in the day, when people had landlines? Oh my God.
Yeah.
In 1917.
I wish that's how it was still.
I could use whatever. That's a whole other story for landlines over here. Thanks to Hurricane Sandy. We still don't have them. And it's 900 years later. But I got a random call from somebody who I thought they said they were from the post office. Oh. And long story short, it's like a direct first cousin.
Oh, wow.
Yes, but she really did work for the post office at the time. Okay. So she wasn't lying, but she was like, hi, this is blah, blah, blah from the post office. I was like, what? So I don't know how they found me, but that was so cool. And now we have like another big part of our family. That's amazing. I'm into that. How awesome is that?
It's amazing.
But maybe the best part was that you didn't have to deal with all the boy smells growing up.
This is true. Now, we're catching up on some of those brotherly things, like having some brother sissy combos that we can now have. It's fun.
Oh my gosh. All right. So let's talk about this whole triplet business. And obviously I like to dig into the brains of our fancy multiples because the people that are listening, we're all parents. And as much as we'd love to say that we understand the relationship that you guys have, we really don't. I mean, we could, in theory, we could get it and we see it in our kids, be it that some of them have their own private languages or something to that effect. But what is do you know what it's not like being a triplet? Like, what a loaded question, right? Like when you have singleton friends, what are some of the things that you can't grasp about singleton life?
I guess the first thing I'll say is that, for one, this is especially good for your parent listeners. It's with twins, in not in all situations, but in many situations, mom, dad, or 2 caregivers with 2 twins. You're a triplet. Boom, you're outnumbered now. So my parents are both amazing saints, really. But so being a triplet, it's like you now have 2 companions versus just one other. So I think it's just, I think the biggest difference is that automatically has two people that you're looking at versus just one next to you. So that kind of brings up some things of like, you automatically begin to like compare a little bit more, or checking in with two other people a little bit more versus an individual. It's like, boom, they're normally just focused on their one singular path, versus as a triplet, you know, that's when you start growing up and you're monitoring that you have two other people next to you, experiencing life at the exact same time that you are.
Now, did you have times where you thought that it was more of a burden than a blessing?
Sure. In the sense that there's things that happen to us where we got left out because we're triplets. So like, for example, we went to this summer camp and we really wanted to be counselors at this camp. And we didn't get accepted to be a counselor because they said they couldn't take 3. It wasn't fair. So like little things like that happened. I remember we were just so crushed. I was like, you can't take, because it's like, it's not fair. Like things like that. I was like, dang, that's really sad.
Yeah.
But for most of it, I mean, it's been like the greatest joy. I think it was meant to be that we're triplets, but like things like that, I think it's important for parents to know, you know, 3 changes things a lot. You're automatically uneven, right? It's just a different dynamic.
What car did you guys have when you were growing up?
A van. I mean,
was it like
what else do you do?
It was like a big 3-row minivan, or like a Duggar van with 17 rows? Like, besides you guys, were you often traveling around with family members?
I don't think with family members, but I remember even driving 2 hours to visit a lake house was like an all-day ordeal, packing the car. Like it took all day to drive 2 hours.
Right.
And I saw some strollers that the twins use on your website, but we had one of those strollers that were 3, like boom, 1, 2, 3. And so my mom was just known as like, I remember it was a blue leather 3-seat stroller, and she was just pushing us around. So we do have lots of photos of that too.
That's so sweet. Oh, you have to send me one. Tell your mama we need one for this episode. So now this, not only, of course, being a triplet has impacted your whole life personally, but it has now officially crept into your professional life.
It has.
How exciting is that? So now I know some of the journey. You were on a road trip, and then you were with, is it your co-writer?
Yes. So he's my life partner and my writing partner.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And he went to school for screenwriting, and I knew I had this story I wanted to tell. I'm an actor, but writing was something I was interested in learning as well. And while we were road tripping to Los Angeles, I was like, let's write this story that I've been dying to write. You're next to me. We had the time. Let's do it. And from there, it's kind of snowballed.
Where did you drive from? Where to where?
We were in Atlanta, moving to Los Angeles.
Okay. So on this cross-country drive,
yes,
you're like, hey, instead of listening to Harry Potter on tape again.
Right.
Which I feel is like a mandatory thing when you're driving cross-country.
Yes.
The whole Harry Potter listening. You're like, oh no, we're going to do this. So we're not going to play the license plate game. We're not going to buy random snacks at like Stuckey's.
We did buy snacks.
Good. I feel better about that.
Yes.
The efficiency is troubling me about your cross-country trip, because you were supposed to be having fun. But now, if this is the person that you have been with, this is your ride or die. When you were writing this story together, how much self-discovery and couple discovery occurred?
So much self-discovery. I think it's been a really big learning experience about myself, my family, my sisters. I mean, I feel like I've done so much inner work writing this story and uncovering stories about our childhood. And I think Gunnar, my partner, has learned a lot just helping us write the story. I mean, I feel like I'm in my Saturn return for anyone who's into astrology. So it makes total sense that this is all happening right now. I'm like learning about myself and writing this story. So it makes total sense, but a lot of self-discovery.
Well, like for realsies, Paige, there had to be like 800 stories. How did you narrow it down to the one that you wanted to expose to the universe?
Yes, I know. Well, the good news is that we have many stories we want to still tell, but this story, it was like one of those stories I would tell people and they were like, it would just kind of like stop them in their tracks and like, well, you have to tell that. And like, I was like, well, how will it be a book? Like I didn't know the shape of it yet. And then you hear a lot as an actor, make your own content. And at first I was like, I just want to be in people's stuff. And then I was like, oh no, I have to make this. It just kind of was like an intuition hit that I had to make this story. It's people, I kept hearing, you have to make this, you have to make this. And eventually,
agreed.
And then we got to LA, COVID hit, and it felt like everything aligned because a lot of my auditions stopped and all the stars aligned for us to make this project. I was like, I have to be creative. Things kind of fell into place. But to answer your question, it really was just the story that I think really made people ask questions. And I saw people get excited about it. I saw people reflect on their experience. For the listeners, the story is the true story about how my sisters and I found out about sex when we were 8 years old. And so it made people, yeah, you can laugh. It's funny. It just made people think and have a conversation.
But was your mom really at a support group? Like, how much of this is Hollywood and how much of this is the real behind the music of Paige and the girls? Yeah. Yeah. So that's why we say it's based on a true story, but a lot of it is real. So sometimes in filmmaking, you combine certain things to make the story a little more, just to help the story. So I combined two ideas. Like my mom had like a parental advisor and a triplet support group leader. The parental advisor advised the 8 years old. But I made it the triplet support group leader for the movie. But my mom was in a triplet support group. So I took those two ideas and combined it. So yeah, the opening of the film is the triplet support group leader encouraging the parents to tell their kids about sex by age 8 or someone else will. And, oh my God. Okay. So now this whole Catholic school thing. Okay. So did you go to Catholic school?
I did, but not, I was attending church at age 8, but I actually didn't go to Catholic school until I was in 4th grade.
I think it's improved the story. I think it's unbelievable.
Yes. Well, I think even though we weren't at school at the time, it's still, the story has the backdrop of the church and how, sometimes in religious communities, it's different for everyone, but it has that backdrop of like, sex is this one thing. It's between a married man and woman to create children. And I think we all know that's just not true. But it's complex. I don't know how you told your kids or how other parents on here are planning on telling their kids, but it's complex. There's the biology, there's the component that you don't always have sex to have kids. That's not the only reason why you're having sex. It's not always a man and wife having sex. It can be people of the same gender. So it's really complex. So I like to say I don't have all the answers, but I have a lot of questions. And so I hope this is a conversation starter.
Oh, I loved it. And I love that it is a short film. So it could grab our attention span when our listeners are raising their triplets and twins and quints and quads and sextuplets. So what inspired you to make it a short film though? Like if you have so many stories to tell, why didn't you just go for it and make the giant feature length film with all of your stories in it versus just a little short film?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the dream is actually for it to be a TV show. That's just the way I see it more. And so the advice I got from a lot of people who I've watched do this above me or from other people in the industry is when you're pitching a show, you need a proof of concept. People instead of just reading a pilot script, people like visual components to help really understand which world they're living in. So I got that advice a couple of times and I was like, okay, let's start with the short film, make a proof of concept to show what world we're living in. And then when you want to make other stories, it's kind of like a launch pad. And also this as an isolated story is funny by itself. So,
well, I thought it was cruel. I have to say that you've limited me to 12 and a half minutes or almost 13 minutes. And I'm a little sad, but it's so nice to see like a real, multiple birth family that's not a sideshow. Right. Yeah. Because often in the media, like we are portrayed as like the freak show. Right. And if it's triplets, it's like, oh, those weird girls in the classroom or the twins are like, oh, they can't be separated from each other or they only talk to each other in the same language. Like it irritates me in many ways because often people also think that like twins are just identicals.
Yes.
And that's just a general aggravating perception to those of us that have fraternal twins. Yes. I have to imagine that that's got to get frustrating to you guys because does everybody say, oh, are you all identical?
Of course they ask me that. I think, and honestly, your frustration and some of the frustrations I have is a motivator behind why I want to tell these stories. It's because I want to give people awareness of the fact that we are individuals. We're fraternal as well. And so I want to bring awareness to, that we're people, we're our own individual people. So that is a huge driving force behind why I want to tell these stories. But yeah, so it's really easy to be like, oh, those are the Hullett sisters. And that made me crazy. In a way, it's like, yeah, it's beautiful that we're 3 triplets, that we made it and that we are thriving and healthy. Like that is a miracle. Yes. But I think people don't realize that even like, for example, if you're in a group text, like happy birthday, Hulletts. Listen, I love my friends. Thank you for doing that. But even that, when you're growing up, I think it's important to realize like those little moments can add up.
Oh, I'm aggravated for you right now. Did you ever get your own birthday cake? Ever?
Yes.
Okay, good.
My parents were really, yes. My parents were really mindful about making us feel like we had individual voices. And I'm so grateful for that. We had the 3 birthday cakes. They tried their best to make us feel individually special, for sure.
Now, because you have this now very theatrical, positive, like really like positive view of triplets. I'm trying to put my finger on the words, but I want to say, when you were making this film, did you really try to focus on that? Because you said like you needed a proof of concept that people are going to care about this, but then that the world is sending you a group text. What did you do in the movie to kind of set the tone on, please don't treat us like this? Or did you? Because it's based on a time that you're so young.
Yes. So actually, there is a part that I really wanted people to latch onto that idea. And a lot of people have talked to me about it after, like, that was so interesting, that X. So during the talk, that we actually showed them having the talk with the kids, and each of the 3 kids react extremely differently, as did the 3 of us when we found out. I was horrified. I was absolutely horrified because I was just confused. I had a lot of questions. I was like, what do you mean? Like, it kind of shattered my idea of what I knew my whole life. My sister, the actor, and my sister who sat in the middle was kind of like the peacekeeper, like, everything's fine, sissies, like everything's okay. And then my other sister at the end, deflect. Like, nope, I'm going to shut off from that. So everyone after is like, that is so interesting. Like, how did you get those individual reactions? I was like, well, because that's what they were. We all reacted really differently. So for the parents listening, for anyone listening, I really was intentional about that. Because I think sometimes you forget that people, especially as a multiple, you process information differently than your sibling might. And so I really wanted to hammer that home for sure.
Oh, I love that. That makes me so happy that, like, finally this is happening. So I'm weirdly excited. And so that's why when I saw that you guys were doing like your GoFundMe, and we really don't do that. I have to be honest, Paige, but I was like, yes, if somebody's going to give us a voice, could we please make this happen? So it was all that. I'm glad that I found you guys. And I know that equally the love is returned on our end, but in this community, man, I don't know why nobody's paying attention to us, because I know we're 3% of the population, but we're such a strong
I did not know we were only 3%.
Yeah, we're only 3%. You're even less.
Oh, we're way, yeah.
So you guys are like,
that's
maybe 0.8 of a percent if you're lucky. But the weird thing about us is we are so strong, like with our little underground connections.
You are.
It's not like singletons. And your mom, like your mom would tell you, that's why she had a support group that was just for her, because I don't want to be in a room with singletons. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be like offensive, but it was so infuriating for me when my singleton friends would be like, oh my gosh, they're not sleeping. And I will tell you, Paige, 2 of my most valuable relationships in my life have been triplet moms.
Wow.
That I met them. I actually tell this story on another podcast, but I always say that every twin family needs a triplet family to play with.
Oh,
it's brilliant. Like, it would be a mandatory, like, if I could say what the deal breakers are, it's like, make sure you have life insurance, be sure you take a first aid CPR class, and find a parent of triplets to play with. Because it's such a wonderful vibe. Like, we're much more chill than singletons, but triplets are even more chill than us. And when you could be together in a room with another woman or another man that has 3 kids at the same time, you share a bond, but yet we know that it's different, but we're both empathetic of what each other's are going through. And it's just great. I loved when my kids played with triplets. So that was our go-to. And still to this day, I'm still friends with one of those triplet moms, and we meet often for adult beverages.
Well, I love that. You need that. And it's because it's hard to, like, singletons are wonderful. And like everyone who has a child is on their own journey, but it's a different understanding of what you're going through. Yep. I'm sure. And so we had a lot of triplet and twin friends, and it's different. It's like, oh, you get it. So I totally agree with that.
I think once you pop one puppy, more than one puppy at a time, we're in a different ball game. Mm-hmm. So now let's ask the stupid questions. Okay. So we got the stupid one. Are you identical? I apologize for calling them stupid questions, but they're stupid. Did you dress alike?
Okay. Can I tell you that I listened to one of your podcasts this morning, and I called my mom to verify this for you? Because I was like, I have to be able to answer this question. I just feel
you don't have to. You don't have to do anything. No. Paige.
Well, I just knew. I was like, the parents need to know. And so my mom was like, listen. Yes. And so I was like, well, my mom said yes for photos, but she was really, she really wanted us to make sure that we weren't always matching. So she was being intentional at the time, which I'm grateful for. And if we weren't always matching, sometimes we'd be like, coordinated, like similar styles, or like the same shirt but in different colors. But it wasn't always like we have to be matching all the time.
So you don't remember it because it wasn't a thing.
I remember because of photos.
But that's it. So your only memory is through pictures. Well, that's good, because then it wasn't a thing.
Yes,
so it wasn't like you and your sissies were like, we're wearing the kitten shirt today.
No, I don't remember that, which I am grateful for, because I think it was important for us to be like, I'm going to wear this today. Would we fight over clothes because I wanted to wear my sister's sweater? Yes. But it wasn't like, hey guys, we have to coordinate what we're wearing today. That really wasn't our path.
Okay. That makes me very content. I'm not saying that it's wrong to dress your twins alike, but I think that there's definitely something to dressing different.
100% have to agree with you.
This. So in school, when at the very beginning, when we started talking, actually, you know what? We're going to take a quick break, but this is what I'm going to ask you when we come back.
Okay.
When we started talking, you said that one of the things about being a triplet is that you would look to your side and you would see two other people and you would compare yourself. Yeah. So sit right there, because I want to talk about kind of that comparison and the stress or the relief that maybe you had because you had two people to compare yourself to. So sit right there and we'll be right back. All right, so I want to dive in to this whole comparison and that whole statement that you made. While you were glossing over it, I literally wrote it down because I think it's true. I think when you are part of a multiple birth, we think about the parents comparing a child to another child. I don't think that it's very often that we get the opportunity to hear from an adult child to say, this was my experience with my girlies. What was that like? Like, how was it hard? Was it easy? How was it having two of you next to you?
Yeah. For me personally, I found it hard. This is why. Sometimes with threes, I wish your audience could see this. This is not for all triplets. This is just what happened to me. One can be separated from two. And so my sisters had very similar interests. They are their own people, but they gravitated towards similar things. They're both dietitians, and so they were studying the same thing in college. And then growing up, they were both really into sports. And so as I was watching that, I tried to be good at sports. I tried to be good at math. I tried to get on board with what they found interesting. And what I was still so young, I didn't understand why I didn't find it interesting. And I started being like, is something wrong with me? Like why I'm not good at math, but I'm really good at reading. And I want to go do theater. I was just, I was confused. And my parents were like, no, we want you to do what you want to do. But it's just natural. You're watching your two sisters excel in something else. Yeah. And it's natural to question those things. Now, I'm sure there's, examples where there's some triplets out there where each individual triplet had different interests, but it is easy to be like, gosh, you aced that math test. I feel stupid. I didn't.
Yeah.
So I just think it's natural. And this is what I like to say to people. And this is a message I want your audience to take away, is you're experiencing life at the same time, but you don't have to do everything at the same time. If that makes sense. Yes, you're in the fourth grade together, but you don't have to be perfectly parallel in the way that you're experiencing that fourth grade.
Oh, I want to come see the kid you and be like, we're going to a show. Now, did you have family members that recognize that? And I'm going to also page it for the record.
Yeah.
That is not uncommon. Yeah. I would love to tell you that you are the first adult triplet with all the triplets that we work with here at Twiniversity. I think it would be rare for everybody to feel like they were an equal in a 3 relationship. Totally. There's always going to be one that be at the runt of the litter, right? Or the odd man out, whatever you want to call it. But I hate that it was you, and it makes me so sad. But did anybody in your family recognize that they were kind of like a gruesome twosome and you were the cheese that stood alone? And did anybody try to compensate for that?
So there's 2 things I want to say. Someone framed it this way for me now. You were the golden sheep, not the black sheep. And I was like, I love that. I'm going to use that forever. But also I want to point out the fact that like my sisters, like I'm sure they compared against each other because they had the similar interests. Who's to say that wasn't harder, you know? And it actually wasn't a family member who first recognized it. I was in 4th grade, I believe. And I was starting to say things like the teacher called us the Hullett sisters. And I guess I said, I'm my own individual Hullett. I said that to my teacher. So I had these feelings now at a young age. And then I was actually at like a assembly or something, and I won an award. And I was like, why did I win this award? And my teacher was like, because you're your own person. Oh. And I will never forget that as long as I live. She was the first person who gave me permission to really speak up and like own that.
Oh, what was her name?
I don't know.
You don't know. Great.
I'm blanking on her name. Yeah,
great.
I'm terrible.
That story went from sweet to literal garbage.
That's fine. We're going to wrap it up. Thanks so much for having me today.
Thanks for nothing, Paige. That was I was going to be like, oh my God, we're going to call her. We're going to find her. Great, Paige. Thanks for
I'm going to Google it after the session to properly thank her. And I know we got to Google her.
You have to do it. You have to find her.
I'm going to Google her right after this.
Finding teachers is a favorite pastime of mine.
Oh my gosh, maybe you can help me after this.
I totally do. I literally found like my English teacher from sophomore year that told me I would only work at McDonald's.
What?
Oh, that's okay, Paige.
No.
Because I come back with a vengeance.
Oh, gosh.
That's okay. Yes, my life amounted to nothing, correct? Nobody had any hopes for me. But I, like you, may have been a little outspoken in my all-girls Catholic school.
Hey, here we go. Good.
There you go. And that's where my daughter goes now. And like you, I remember one of the first things we got called for by the principal's office when my twins were in kindergarten. We got called because the principal said, do you know what your daughter said today? And I said, no. I said, I don't want to know. And luckily, I am a very personable human. So I always made friends with people and bribed them with, buns and donuts and stuff. And my daughter told her kindergarten teacher, people who yell have poor self-control.
I love her. I absolutely love your daughter.
She's delicious. And the teacher was very upset by that. But I know she yelled because I could hear her yelling when I would pick them up from school early. And I said, well, why are we upset that she said that? It's true. It's true. Yes. If you have poor self-control, if you are yelling at 5-year-olds, right, you need to reevaluate your life choice.
Exactly.
Thank you. So your school teacher, who you don't remember, do not tell her you taped this podcast because now it's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Your mom will remember her name, I bet you.
I know. Should we text her?
What was that? Text her, right? I think it is important. I think it is
critical. Let's add it in. And you got to give her a shout out.
Story and say, Mommy dearest. Dear Mommy dearest. I am on with Nat right now. Nat says that I am a disgraceful human being because I do not know my teacher's name.
Well, I did tell her, I was like, Mom, I have a feeling I'll be texting you about something, and here we are.
That's okay. That's the way it goes. See, that was my text to voice. And whenever I speak to my friends, I will do that. I'll be like, Dear Genevieve, I want you to know that today is a very bad day. But I don't know. This is just what I do in my free time. But I think it's so sweet that you had a teacher that recognized that and supported that. And I wish it was everybody that did that. See, now on the flip side, Paige, I recognize that in the triplets that we played with, and the mom got mad at me.
What do you mean?
Because I would favor the one that was the odd man out.
Oh.
So
your group had an odd man out too.
Oh, totally. Totally.
So I think this is common. I think
it is. Paige, it's everybody. It's not you guys. It's literally, how about this? I challenge listeners, if you do not, don't message me that you do have triplets that have an odd man out, because I can't get that many in my inbox. Message me if you do not. And how about this? I even challenge parents one more to say, do your kids think that? Because parents may say, oh no, everybody's equal. Everybody gets everything. But I say, really?
Yeah.
Because wait till they're bigger and listen to what their stories are. Yes. So I don't like when people are like, oh, no. If a parent ever says that to me, I'm already suspicious.
Wow. That is so good to know. And I actually would love to hear these stories too. About
community at Twiniversity.com is where you're going to email us, drop us a DM on any social platform, blah, blah, blah. But for real, like if you are one of three, so if you're a triplet and you're listening, or if you have triplets and are listening, let us know, because I don't think, Paige, that you are very special in the world of triplets. I think this is normal, but a golden sheep is such a great way to put it. And it's such a positive way to spin it. But I really felt bad for the kind of golden sheep. So I favored her, and I bought her special prizes when I went away. And she was always my favorite. And I would be very open about her being my favorite. And I would say she was my favorite. And so the mom always said to me, how could you say that? I said, because she also likes me more. So like, I'm her favorite. Like because my twins would just go and play. And then the triplets, the other two would just go and play. And it would just be me and her. And she would be like my little bestie. And I'll be like, what are we doing? Let's do this. Let's do that. She would always play with me. I was like, let's do chalk. Sweet. Now, not saying that I didn't want to sit on the bench with the other moms and just have coffee, but I really like kids, unlike my daughter's kindergarten teacher.
Right, exactly.
Right. So, but for me, I love the relationship that I had with her. And I don't like that I was in trouble. So whatevs, man. I got to tell you,
you saw her. You saw her heart. You saw that she was. Yeah.
I still want to reach out to her now, but I don't want to be like creepy about it. They just turned 18. I don't want to be like, hey, it's not.
I'm sure she remembers you.
We'd be best friends. I would hope so. Yeah. But everybody's in college now, so I'll wait till she's out of college, and then I'll be like, hey, remember me? Yeah. Unlike the way that Paige remembered her.
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say that's gonna come up again. Oh no.
Listen, it's your own fault. You brought this upon yourself. Okay, that's what it is. So let's get back to the good stuff. When this movie comes out, is this coming out? What is it? Streaming? Am I coming to a premiere? Is there a red carpet? Am I going to cons? Where am I going? What am I doing?
Oh my gosh, do I wish we were going to cons?
Why not? You could go. Great. Nobody needs to know. You just say, oh yes, we just went for the film festival. Nobody needs to know you weren't showing.
That's so funny.
That's it.
So you know what? We're finishing our festival tour where we had some premieres and all the things. Last week we're at the Austin Film Festival, which was like just truly the best week ever. An amazing audience, people coming up to me after telling their stories, which I was so grateful for. But the festival tour is ending, and so where people can watch, it's just going to be online. So it's accessible to everyone. You can watch it on your phone while your kids are taking naps or whatever. It'll be on Vimeo, and right now the link is private for the screenings that we've had. But then once we make it public, please, everyone, watch it.
Oh my gosh, we'll have it. It'll be in the show notes, so don't even worry about that. I mean, that's an easy thing to do. I am so proud of you, and I am so proud of how this story could be, my life is miserable. Mm-hmm. I was an odd man out. I had, I was lucky that I had people next to me. It could go so many different ways.
Yeah.
And you did so freaking good, girl.
Thank you.
You really did.
Thank you. And I love my sister so much. And I think this is normal and natural for every triplet. So
agreed. So we don't hate your sisters. I mean, you're going to be my favorite, clearly, because that's my MO.
Yes, please.
But you're also the one who likes me more.
That's true. That is so true.
See how this goes? That's the way it goes. I will bring you shells from my next vacation, which is what I always used to do for her. So
that is so sweet.
I'm so stoked, Paige. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited, despite the fact that you can't remember your teacher's name. We'll put that in the show notes too. So you have to get that to me before this comes out. We'll be like, hey, a little added bonus. We'll do like a bonus end piece.
It'll be a tag.
Hi, guys. Yes. Or I'll do my NPR voice and be like, hi, guys. It's not. We're adding a little piece onto that.
That's really good.
Yeah,
that's
really everybody has that. That's going to be when I make my dog do ASMR too, when she eats doggy bones. Oh, it's the best.
That is amazing.
I love dogs crunching. Could we just have a website called dogscrunching.com?
That's just TikTok now.
I know, but it's not enough. Sometimes like people are talking, they're ruining, they're ruining it. And then something else will pop them in my algorithm about a goose. And I'm like, I hate geese.
What is happening here?
I don't know. I don't know how to get out of that. I'm stuck. I will be stuck in triplets for the rest of my life. And Paige, you will always have a home here at Twiniversity.
Thank you.
And I'm so excited to say, oh my gosh, we knew her when. And this is the beginning of everything. I know it is. I mean, I really like, if the proof of concept, I keep saying that there is such a need for this. I want to say we want it because we're greedy. People love this crap. That's it.
I love this crap. And I feel that need too, because you know what? I was listening to something today and it was like, the art that you make is what you wish you had when you were growing up. So that's what I hope to get back, is just more of this art.
Yep. And that is exactly what Twiniversity is. It is what I wish I had when I was expecting my own twins.
It's
We're
amazing.
Doing it. We're both going to conquer. You stay in your triplet lane. I'll stay in my twin lane. And then we will meet at the park for adult beverages in our coffee cup when it's time. Date?
That sounds like a perfect date.
Oh, Paige, thank you so much for playing with us. Guys, for those of you that are listening, there'll be everything in the show notes. Don't get nervous. You could stalk Paige plenty easy. You could even stalk her teacher once we find out who she is. We're going to do a big campaign about, could you believe that? And so we're going to do that. We'll all message her independently. I'll send you guys her email too, the teacher's email, so we know that we loved her. But until anything, guys, you know that we're always here from you, not whether you have triplets, twins, quins, quads, no joke. We are in a league of our own and we are thrilled to play in our own sandbox. We don't need that singleton world. We'll just be over here. The rest of the singleton world ignores us anyway. So we're good. So Paige, thanks again for playing with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. And thank you for being a resource to all of us multiples.
Oh, you got it, girl. All right, guys, until next time, I will see you later, alligators. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, blah, 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 all that crap that other people say. Send us a direct message if you need anything. Until next time, see you later, kids.